Hi guys, welcome to the Savvy Man Show with me, your host Sean. If you find any of today's entertainment helpful, don't forget to smash the lovely like button. Helps with the YouTube algorithm and getting the video out to more people. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please do, and the bell notification would be amazing. You'll be notified when a new video gets uploaded. If you're looking for a free trading platform which will trade your stocks and shares, don't forget to check out the links in the description below. I'll also throw in a few videos in case you want to check them out. Now on with the show, and we're opening up my portfolio again, see what's changed. AA, these are because they're dividend reinvestments. They from before. AA will not be paying a dividend, even though they have on here 2.55. As far as I know, they won't be paying a dividend anymore, but from previous one. I'd signed up on a Quidco's page to have my dividends reinvested for AA, and then I sold, and I had so much, it got me 6 shares. I'd forgotten completely about it. So, Affleck. Now, reason for this, although I'm down my position by $1.27 a share, is in the insurance. To tell you the truth, if you want to pick up insurance companies, now's the time to do it. It has a PE ratio of 7.78, dividend yield of 3.23%. I wouldn't bank on that dividend yield, although they haven't mentioned it. They do have the money to pay it, but it's a beta of 0.89. Now anything under 1 is good. Now they do have the money to pay it, but the problem is with debt to assets of 81%, which is high, as you know, I think they will try and conserve money. Agency investment. Again, this is a small position. I had a few dollars left over, and I went into this, and it kind of goes up and down. Sometimes it goes into $14, and I think it's good dividend yield, good PE ratio. Basically, I made enough of a profit to sell out of my position, and then when I had some money left over, I put a few dollars in there when it dropped again. Now people were saying it's residential mortgages, why are you going into this? Well, because they're guaranteed by government sponsored enterprise, which are like Federal Mortgage Association, Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, or the United States Government Association. So they're protected. AT&T, I've spoken about them a lot. Now, they're under the intrinsic value. They are, you can see I've picked up a lot more shares than the last time. They are under their intrinsic value. I've brought down my average price by about 50 cents, but still I've averaged it down. I didn't want to put any more in, but that's a big enough position. I think they'll be big in the 5G market. If they can sort out their HBO Max streaming service, I think it will be good. They seem to have a bit of bad luck with that. ESPN wants a small start up. Another good thing. A string to their bow, and it's just cheap at the moment. AbbVie. Now, I did a video on this. It's below its intrinsic value. Its P ratio is 16.7, dividend yield of 4.91%. if you're from the UK and you filled in your WBAAEN form, you've got to consider this as a dividend yield of 4% because the 15% taken off. However, they have huge pipeline, and one of their drugs that they thought they were going to lose the patent over has been extended for 2 years. So I did a thing on Artel Africa, a video on it before. It is basically the main mobile provider in Africa, and it doesn't just provide mobile services, it provides mobile money transfer services as well, and it's just grown from strength to strength. People are put off by the fact it says 3G and 4G, but some put increasingly 4G services, but in Africa some areas don't even have 4G yet. Dividend yield of 8%, PE ratio of 7.82. And if you check with the ratios, you'll see the 52-week range is between 26 pence and 82 pence, so it's near the high, but you will, I'm sure that this is going to be one for the future. This is a spec stock, but it's a spec stock that has legs. Altria. Now, I spoke about Altria before. Now, it has dividend of 8.8%, PE ratio of 12.83, and they are diversifying so that they can survive, so that they're not just a tobacco company. So likes of British American Tobacco, who just keep upping the prices of the tobacco products, these guys diversify, which is good. American Express, I spoke about it earlier in the last video, so I won't speak about it again, but 1.5 shares. If it drops, I'll buy another 1.5 shares, but while I'm in profit, even though 0.4%, 46 pence, I'm not buying any more. I think there'll be another drop. Arrow Global Group, this is a UK company. Now, this is a PE ratio of 3.4, dividend yield of 5.18%. Now, they specialise in the purchase, collection and servicing of non-performing loans. Identifies, acquires and manages secured and unsecured loan portfolios. So basically they buy up the bad debt from the banks and go and collect. Now at the moment it's down because people are protected from this sort of thing. They're protected in the form of banks being forced to help them out if people ask for it, giving them, in the US you've got forbearance, and in the UK we've got a similar sort of scheme, but I don't think that will last much longer, especially with furlough being over and done with and opening up, and I think that's when this will rise. Aviva. Now, I spoke about Legal and General. I think Aviva will actually overtake Legal and General. Good thing about Legal and General is the dividend, your guaranteed dividend. But I think once everything opens up and gets back to normal, Aviva will be a bigger one. P ratio of 4.17, dividend yield of 3.53. I mean, you notice I'm going for insurance companies. Warren Buffett loves insurance companies. Now, I'm going for a certain percentage of my group insurance companies, certain percentage telecommunications and 5G, certain percentage banks, certain percentage health and so on. I've already gone through what a portfolio should be. BT Group. Now, you can see down day, this is up and down. Again, it's down today, but it's 5. Pardon me. Oh, I'm boring myself to sleep. Can you believe it? 5.39 PE ratio. The dividend has been cut until the end of the year, but a dividend of 13%. Of course, if it gets back to normal, it won't be 13.44%, it'll be 6.5%. That's if it gets back to normal. They're basing it on a drop in share price. Bank of America. If you remember from my review comparing all the banks, Bank of America was one of them. It was under its book value, still is. PE ratio of 7.71, dividend yield of 3.11. Barclays, that was another one below book value, but you see I have less shares because it wasn't kind of as good as Bank of America. PE ratio of 4.85, dividend yield of 2.7. Now, Barrick Gold, spoke about this. I was going into it. The PE ratio, forget the PE ratio, it's because it keeps going up, going up, going up. And then what they'll do is they'll sell the gold in big bunches rather than bit by bit. Dividend yield of 1.09%. And this is one that kind of protects me. It's below its intrinsic value, and it protects me in case of a crash or a second lockdown. Berkshire Hathaway, another one that protects me in case of a crash or second lockdown. I bought below intrinsic value. I went through basically I went through the companies, each company's valuation that's on its books, P ratio of 5.29, and I added the money that's on his books, and the money that's on his books adds an extra $10 share to the company that people aren't thinking about, and you're getting the management for free. Biffa, it's UK West Company. Think of waste management for the UK, because they're the collection, treatment, processing and disposal of waste and recyclable materials. They work in the production and sale of energy derived from waste and sale of recovered commodities. So basically, they recycle. They have a machine that will pull out the recyclable things, paper, glass, metals and plastic. They will search for it, and then they will sell it on. And the non-recyclable things, they will capture the methane gas, the propane gas and that from it, and they will process it and they will sell it on. And they will get grants for doing this, and for the cleaner, greener they are, they will get grants. 10.75 PE ratio, 1.24% dividend yield. Now, that's one for the UK people who like waste management. Blue Apron Holdings I've spoken about earlier. Not many shares, but I'm just testing the water at the moment. Brookfield Infrastructure I've already spoke about as well. Again, only 3 shares, but up already. P ratio I would discredit it. Dividend yield of 4.88%. That's a good price to show sales. CVS Health I spoke about a while ago to insure myself against a second lockdown, second wave, because they do all the testing. P ratio of 11.5, dividend yield of 3.15. Card Factory, this is actually the profit from my last lot. I bought Card Factory 45.59, and I sold at over 50 a share, and when I took out my initial investment I was left with 35 shares. So that's the house's money. Cineworld Group, well, I did, another YouTuber mentioned it, who I follow, mentioned it, and I thought, it seems too risky for me at the moment. And I thought, but I want to track the price. I don't want to keep going to my watch list. And I thought, when you look at the upside, you know, we are opening in the UK. They do have some amazing places. People are in a rush to get out and enjoy themselves. And I think it could do well. Before I put money into it, I'm waiting for it to come down 45 pence a share, but I had 120 left over, so I put it in there. Cruisy doozy. I said below 60 I would pick them up again, and I did, and then sold them, and then I go back again. Now, if they go 55, fill the boat. Now it's at 20, P ratio of 20, but they have 75% of their customers are Apple, so that's one. This is kind of like a lesson on a weekly basis. This is like going up to $7.50, and you know, then going back down. Now I bought at 7.77, so it's more like a lesson to me. Be careful your price point, and you know, if it keeps on, I will cut my losses and come out, but at the moment I'm keeping it there as a lesson to always go in low. Coca-Cola. Now this is a funny one, because I bought and sold this 8 times. You know, it's you see these where it's gone up, each time it's gone up, each time it's gone up, each time it's gone up, and then each time it's gone up. See, I bought down there, gone up, and then it's gone down, gone up, and it's just one of those, when it comes to beverages, 3.76% and 20. However, I'm thinking next time I sell it, I'm going into Pepsi. Pepsi have just bought Rockstar Energy. I did think Pepsi were going to go for Fizz, and I'm surprised no one has approached Fizz, because they have a perfect drinks company. Copa Holdings. Now, this one, I have done a review of the aeroplane stocks before. And this was a surprise to me. And I think it's because no one else knows about it. At the time, I had about 40 subscribers. But P ratio of 6, dividend yield of 6.77. Obviously, dividend yield can't cope on, but can on. But you had Copa Holdings, Ryanair, Dark Group, then Delta, and then Southwestern. Discovery I spoke about earlier, and again a small position, it's already up. ExxonMobil, well, no offence, but it's P ratio of 16.87, dividend yield of 8, and it's at such a discount. I used some of the money to buy some tanker stocks. because I'm still getting a discount, and my tanker stocks counteract my oil stocks. And so if there's an oil crisis again, my tanker stocks go up. If there isn't, the oil stocks go up, and I get dividends from both. Facebook, got one share from this, I've got one share in my other account, and it's spoke about how I think the the advertising ban won't last for long. I think the Asian market is going to thrive once everything's over with. Right, foreign merger 2, we all know about Tattoo Chef. That is one that I think is going to, once all this with Helion is over and Nicola, and I think attention is going to go to foreign merger 2. It's an amazing company, Tattoo Chef. For you to do an IPO and say you're going to IPO, merge at 2.2 times your 2021 earnings, expected 2021's earnings, amazing. Games Workshop, I just think it's got so much legs on it, and I think if there is a second wave, it will do well. Genius Brands. Now, this is one of those, before you criticise me, it's one of those that I bought from the profit of Genius Brands. I sold out. I bought in a low value, I sold out, and then some people were saying to me, "You made this much profit and you're not even going to dip your toe in like one share." I said, so then I did a video, because I said, oh, I'm not going in again, and then I did a video where I bought a share, and I ended up thinking I made money on there, so just put it in. International Personal Finance, P ratio 1.87, dividend of 8. Now, this is one that offers home credit, cash loans, money transfer loans, and insurance, micro business loans. See, again, this is one that once they take away the protections, these people have to pay up, and this is where this comes into effect. This is where this thrives. IVR, it's a mortgage backed by the US government again. PE ratio 1.77, dividend yield of 2. People have been saying, oh, it's got a 40% dividend yield. Listen, just look at the fact it's discounted rate, be happy with that, and you get a dividend. Kruger Dr. Pepper, not the best balance sheet. There's more an impulse buy. PE ratio of 31, dividend yield of 22. Now, L3 Harris Technologies. I did a video on this. I think they're undervalued. I think people are realising a 2% dividend yield. I think people are realising what a good deal Raytheon is, and I wanted to diversify my defence stocks. They have a contract to make sure that the elections go through safely, and a load of other ones, and I just think they will do well. Legal and General, did a video on this one. Insurance arm, 7, P ratio of 7, dividend of 8. They went against the Bank of England to make sure they could pay the dividend. M&T Bank, another one of the banking stocks I've reviewed, one that Warren Buffett actually picked up this year. when he was selling all his others. 7.3 PE ratio, 4.38 dividend. Medical Properties Trust. Now, it's a real estate investment trust, focuses on healthcare. 22 PE ratio, 6 dividend yield. Merck. When I did my health biotech comparison, this was one of the 3 that were undervalued. 14 PE ratio, dividend of 3.25. Now, Moderna, these were left over when I sold the others, because I said from the beginning, doesn't matter whether it works or not, US government are going to have the vaccine. Neo, we all know about Neo, nearest challenger to Tesla in China. New York Mortgage Trust. Did a video on this. P ratio of 4, dividend of 7.63. Nokia, did a video on this. It's undervalued, and it has lots of 5G contracts coming up. Pays a dividend. Sorry, I'm trying to rush through now. Nordic American Tankers. It just hit the price point that I said I would pick it up at. Oxford Lane Capital. Now, this one, you see I've got 10 shares. I had a lot more. This is my profit. These 10 shares. I took out my investment, and this is what I was left over with. Now, it has dividend yield, it says a 45%, but we'll see whether it gives that or not. Peloton Interactive, I said before, I think this is a movement. Even after people can go back to the gym, I don't think they will. They realised how much time they save by doing it indoors, and how it's more or less the same money. And a lot of people don't want to, there's people who don't go to the gym because they don't want to feel insecure, so they don't start going to the gym. And these are the people who will use this, and they still can't make the bikes fast enough. Pfizer was another biotech company that was under its intrinsic value, 13.39 PE, dividend yield of 4.74. Plug Power is another one where this is my profit. It ran up over 50%. I worked it out. I took out my investment and a bit of profit. I took 8 shares out, left myself with 4. And they're the company that, if Nikola does put in an infrastructure, they will actually contract the likes of them. Prospect Capital. Financial services company, 12.13 PE ratio, 14.2 dividend yield. Prudential Financial. Now, 5.42 PE ratio, 7.57 dividend yield. Raytheon Technology. Mentioned these before. Anything under 75 is a good buying opportunity. 8.74 PE ratio, 3.21% dividend yield. I think they'll go to 100. We go back to Prudential and you'll see why. A bit like Raytheon when it comes to valuation. Redrow, UK company. Now, they are acting like they haven't been working, but they have been working. And to tell the truth, to get this price, you have to go back 4 years. and all the growth they've had in the past 4 years, you've got for nothing. 4.43% dividend, PE ratio of 5, and if it drops below 450, I'm picking more up. Remark Holdings. I've spoken about Fleur. Remark Holdings is the same. They've actually just got approval for X-ray technology on their scanners. They scan the temperature, and it's apparently they're going to have contracts with some of the casinos. Whether that's true or not, don't know. Royalty Pharma. Now this is one that is a profit took on some of them, and this is what was left over. Now this is more like an ETF of healthcare companies. They take the best healthcare companies, or they take licenses from the best healthcare companies, so all their stuff works. They don't produce it themselves. Store Capital, if you're in the US, I'm sure you know who they are. They do the credit cards. 25 PE, 5.92% dividend. Safe Store, I did a video on these. Now, again, 11.53 PE ratio, 2.48% dividend. Once again, look at that graph. It looks like Facebook's totally up there. Actually, it looks better than Facebook's, purely because there was no dips until COVID-19 or the Rona for our friends across the pond, and Sage Group. Personally, I think this is well undervalued. P ratio 23, dividend yield of 2.5. Serica Energy. Now, I think this is one that will do well in the future. Stratasys. Now, it's the biggest 3D printer manufacturer and for the creation of parts that is around, and they started getting more contracts. Taylor Wimpey. Again, to get it at this price, you had to go back 6 years, and the growth they've had in those 6 years has just been amazing. 7.11 PE ratio, 2.69% dividend. Fervence Biopharma. Now this is actually House's money. I made a certain amount. I took my investment out, and this is what's left over. Same with this one. I took my initial investment out. It ran up 95%. Took my initial investment out, and this is the House's money. I still believe in the company, Helion. I think it will be the future of trucking. And Turtle Beach was the same thing. I'm playing with just the House's money. Now, Uranium Energy. I spoke about that before. And Valerius is basically the House's money. I spoke before about how it went up 600%. I took my money out, took a bit of profit, and left a small bit in there. Now, this is an interesting one. When I come out of Grubhub, I said, "Wow, I'm surprised that no one's looking at this one." Yeah. Waiter Holdings. Yeah. It's food ordering and delivering platform. Technology. Similar sort of thing, just on a smaller scale. And it's been down all the time. Suddenly starting to make a move. hopefully it does something. And Walgreen boots I spoke about before, very undervalued. PE ratio of 7.83, dividend yield of 4.4%. Disney, I made my thoughts clear about that. I said I was going into Yamaha Gold, and there you are. I spoke about iShares Global Water, the reason behind that, and I said how I was going to go into the index link gilts. It's only half share, but I will increase that. Now I have money on hand. One thing I hate about trading 212 is these calculations. With your portfolio, if you put 14,000 in, market goes up, it says you put 16,000 in, because you've taken profit from shares. If you make £2,000 profit and you reinvest that in another way, it says you put 16,000 in. If you put 4,000 in and you 5x your money, it says you put 20,000 in. Still, apart from that, it's pretty much perfect. Anyway, I will leave it there, and I'll go into my next version, my next part of trading 212 another night, because it's getting late. Don't forget to hit the like button and comment if you want to comment on any things I spoke about tonight. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Liking and comment really does help with the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.